me some girl, you got that real. Give me some real. Oh, yeah. Give me some real. Oh, shit. Give me some real. Give me some real. Give me some real.
Hello, everyone. Happy Mental Health Monday. It's a great day. It's your girl, Jill.
And it's your boy, Real.
Yes. So we are here today. Richard looks so awkward. God. Anyways, so today we're coming with you with a topic that Richard wanted to do. And what is that topic, Richard?
That topic is a good topic, one of the best topics ever. But it is self-diagnosis. What is it? How do you say it?
Self-diagnosis.
Yeah, self-diagnosis.
Yes. So meaning you're giving yourself or someone else a diagnosis without seeing a licensed professional. So what do we mean by that? Or what are some topics that we hear, or diagnoses that we hear? So number one is something that I hear all the time is people self-diagnosing themselves with
depression.
Yes. Number two. What is something that somebody else, people typically diagnose other people with, Richard?
Bipolar disorder.
Yes. So, and number three, what is something else that we hear people always saying that they have personally with themselves?
I don't know how to spell this, but it's anxiety.
Anxiety, yes. Anxiety. So top three, like we said before, are
from what we experience with our friends and our family and stuff like that.
Just hearing in general with people. And I'm sure you guys have heard these too by yourself, with just people saying that they have these particular things. So we just want to go and just talk about those. So I know you guys probably don't know what this book is called or what this is, but the DSM-5.
DSM-5, Cinco.
Yes. So that is something that we use as therapists, clinicians, psychiatrists. We use this book to be able to properly diagnose our clients. So we're not just saying, oh gosh, this person comes in, I know they have bipolar disorder. No, we have to go back and reference from the DSM-5 to make sure that we are properly diagnosing people. Even though we're professionals, we still need that to be able to diagnose people with.
And this is a question I have to you. So what is something that, what is a harmful thing that somebody could do to themselves if they self-diagnose themselves with one of these disorders?
So self-diagnosing yourself, maybe saying like, I'm just so depressed. Like I know I really have depression. So people maybe might want to self-cope, and they cope by going to alcohol and drinking, or maybe you're smoking, doing things that's harmful to the body, to just self-diagnose. Since you already self-diagnosed yourself, you're gonna cope by doing these different things instead of going to somebody and doing some talk therapy. So I encourage you guys to go see a therapist, because we can't self-diagnose ourselves and think we're gonna cure ourselves by doing these things.
Can you be my therapist?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
And why can't I be his therapist? Because I'm his wife, which is a conflict of interest. And I know a lot of times my friends and family and people that I know personally want me to be their therapist, but I can't, because we already know each other, and that's not gonna work out. So an example that I wanna give you guys to, like, with self-diagnosis, and I know a lot of people have done this. I myself have been like, I have been guilty of this. I will say that. So like saying back in the day, like I remember in college, I used to be sick, and I'll Google like some symptoms that I have, and then I'll go on WebMD, and it'll be like some kind of crazy sickness I never heard of. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have that. Like, that's me. That's what I have. And I remember going to the doctor, and I was like, I have this. I don't even know what the disease or whatever it was that I thought I had. And he's like, Jillian, please stay off the internet and trying to diagnose yourself with these diseases or whatever you feel like you have, and just come to a doctor so you can actually get properly diagnosed, and then we can do some tests to see what's happening with you. So that's just an example that we're not doctors, So we can't just diagnose ourselves with sicknesses. Have you ever did that, Richard? You've been scared and think, oh, I know. Richard, you thought you had the suds.
Yeah, I had the suds in Catalina. It was not fun.
Yes. So with that, we just want to say that we can't self-diagnose ourselves. We'll give you some examples right now of some things that you have to see within the DSM-5 of some symptoms that you have to have within a certain amount of time. And it's different types of within a disorder. So like bipolar disorder, there's certain different things like manic, different things that the average person is not going to know. And sometimes we need some extra help with talk therapy and also psychotropic medications because of the chemical imbalance in our brain. So that's just something I want to tell you guys, and we're going to show you that right now. As you can see, it's not just feeling sad. You have to have multiple symptoms within a certain amount of time to be able to be classified with a certain disorder. Okay, so you guys seen how that works and how it is within the DSM-5, just a little examples of how we as therapists diagnose people. But I want to really touch bases with bipolar disorder. Because I know a lot of the times people want to say, oh, he's bipolar. They make it jokingly. Have you ever heard anybody say that, Richard?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes. I'm not going to say the names of the people because it's confidential.
Okay, I would hope that you wouldn't put people on blast. But I know a lot of times people like say, oh, well, he's bipolar, but that's very serious. And if you guys genuinely feel that somebody is bipolar and you want to get help for them, that's a legitimate thing, and I commend you for wanting to help them. But jokingly saying someone, if somebody's just getting mad or somebody's mad at one point, or maybe they're arguing with somebody and you're telling them they're bipolar and you're self-diagnosing them, that's not right, because we don't know what's going on with that person. And for you to try to say that they're bipolar, there's a lot of people that are actually have that and are dealing with that in their daily lives. And who are we to tell somebody else that they're bipolar when we don't know what they're dealing with in their life? So I just wanted to make that apparent. Richard, do you have anything to say about that?
I do not have anything to say about that.
Okay.
Now with depression, I hear a lot that from people our age, I mean millennials, to reflect back to a situation where maybe they were going through a certain trial and tribulation, and reference and saying that they were depressed during that time. And I think that if you are depressed, or if you are feeling depressed, that you should definitely go seek some help. But not always when you are depressed or when you are feeling down, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're depressed. So when you want to say something about that, my beautiful wife, that's hot.
He's trying, guys. Trying to get brownie points, but I appreciate you. But yes, I want to say that's like the top one that I hear. People saying that they're depressed, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I literally just want to get up and yes, because I have clients that are depressed and they're really going through some things, and that is not taken lightly. To say if you're feeling sad at a moment, something happens in your life, for you to try to say that you're depressed. You may have feelings of depression feelings, but you can't say like I'm depressed, because then I'm like, well, who diagnosed you? When did you go? And the thing is, a lot of the times too, is that people want to say that they're depressed, but then they don't want to go to a therapist to actually get clinically get clinical depression actually diagnosed with them. They say like, oh, I'm depressed, but then when you tell them like, oh, well, have you went to a therapist or did you go see a therapist? They're like, what? Like, that's a taboo. They don't do that. So, I mean, if you're going to say you're depressed, go see a therapist and you have them determine that for you, instead of you just telling the world like, yeah, I'm depressed, because I feel like now that's like a norm within our whole society right now, that's a social norm, that people say that they're depressed, and people are like, oh, well, man, like they're depressed and they overcame it and now they're this cool person that did this. But it's like, at the end of the day, I always tell people this, like, yeah, you may have been sad at that moment, and you may have been going through a mental disorder or mental health issue at that time, But you now, if you are telling people like, oh, well, I'm not depressed anymore, I did this, I did that, now look at me, I'm doing amazing, but still your mental health needs to be treated. You may have been able to hide it at that moment because you're doing something fun. Maybe you went on a trip, or maybe you're hanging out with your friends. But when you go home at night and you're by yourself, you're probably still feeling those same feelings and you're sad. But social media and just going all these different things portray it to this world. Man, that girl's not depressed. Like, she's doing really good. Or that guy, he seems like he's really doing good. But from the outside in, we don't know what's going into that person's mind mentally. So we have to just make self-reflect on ourselves and be truthful with ourselves that we need to go just get some help for that. Because, I mean, why not? Let's do this, guys.
Now this is the real talking, okay? That was the therapist. This is the real, okay? It is super duper awesome that that we now can openly discuss mental health issues, so people can not feel like they are alone when going through certain things. But when we self-diagnose ourselves, or we self-diagnose others without them seeing a professional, and then you talk about maybe an experience that you were going through and how you fixed it, and you weren't maybe, like, let's say for instance depression. Let's say you were experiencing being down, but you're classifying what you were experiencing as depression, and how you may have overcame it. Like, I don't know about. I hear people say I started making a lot of money, and now I've overcame my depression. Well, that doesn't necessarily happen to a vast amount of people who are facing those troubles. It's beautiful that we are able to talk about this stuff now, and it's become acceptable. But don't listen to what other people have to say. Just people have to say about your disability, or a disability that you're facing. Go see some help if you are facing these things.
Exactly. Thank you, Richard. But yes, guys, that's what we just want to be able to help people and just give us some knowledge, because sometimes we don't realize what we say. You know, we can say things all the time, but we don't know what that person next to us is really dealing with, and how we can help them by just maybe changing our verbiage a little bit. So the next time you're sad, just say you're sad. Don't say I'm depressed, or I went through depression. Say I just went through a really sad time in my life. Or when you're angry, don't say,
or that person's like bipolar.
Yeah, that person is bipolar. Or with anxiety, like maybe you're a little anxious, but we're not gonna say like I'm struggling with anxiety, because we're dealing with some real stuff, guys. So we just wanted to make that apparent for everyone.
Shine some light on this cloudy season that we are having right now.
Yes, it is very cloudy and it's raining.
Make sure you wear a seatbelt. A lot of people don't wear seatbelts.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
It's raining. It could slip, and the car can ski, and then boom, you get hit.
Okay.
You don't have your seatbelt
Well,
on.
we're not gonna focus on that, guys. But definitely, I hope this helped you all. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday, and just know that you are great, and
you're beautiful, you're smart,
and you can do all things through Christ. That's from Grammy Love. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you guys have any topics that you want us to cover, or maybe something that you're thinking about, please comment down below and let us know what topic you want to discuss.